And hello to all you Bedouins out there. Welcome back. This is going to be episode number 3 with the Bedouin Banter podcast. And I again want to give a small intro and say Eid Mubarak to everybody out there. Ma'adin al-Fazin. I specifically this Eid, I like to, point out and make a little bit of an effort. Because I tend to usually forget about it. It feels like the lesser of the two Eids as far as people's attention span goes. It's like Easter to Christmas Eve, I guess, if you were gonna equate it to something. Because the other Eid has this huge, momentous climax leading up to it with Ramadan and everything, so you kind of gear up for it. But in any case, Eid Mubarak. And just want to give you a quick update. I was supposed to have another episode out today instead of the one I'm going to be presenting to you shortly with Eyad Al Obaidlee. I like this one. This is also another one that comes from the same perspective of geek culture and gaming and Eyad's unique experience and perspective. But I was hoping to have a different episode out today, but I had some technical issues running into it. It was, just to give you an idea, I've been recording most of the ones I'm going to be airing while I'm still in London. I've been recorded like weeks and weeks ago. So many of them have not been going through the post-production as well as others. So there's been some technical issues trying to sort them out. And it's not like I'm at the studio back home to be able to have access to everything. I have the minimum amount of gear necessary. However, we've managed. And the reason I'm apologizing is because it's the same genre, I say, of an episode or an interview, and I was hoping to be able to diversify a bit and spread out all the gaming related ones and pepper them throughout different kinds of interviews with musicians and designers and artists and all that. So apologies if this seems like more of the same. It was not intended to be that way, but opportunity for those of you that have recommendations and suggestions of people to get on the show, to have a special episode with, to just hang out, whatever it may be, send them my way. Other than that, I think everything in the episode is fine. There's some, I feel, less censorship issues than last time, alhamdulillah. And not much issues except some editing near the end where we had to kind of be careful of where we were going into. As far as political territory goes, dangerous places. But yeah, that's it. So enjoy the episode with Eyad, and I'll talk to you guys next week, hopefully when it'll be a monologue episode.
Warning, the following statements, opinions, and humor expressed by Khalid do not represent that of a competent intellectual or, for that matter, indicative of a mentally stable human being. Any attempt at taking these comments too seriously will be met with a thundering meh, locad memes, and years upon years of emotional eating. That being said, Khalid is unrelentingly driven to providing you the most valuable commodity available to any new podcast, a pompous use of big words, deafening awkward silences, and the pursuit of annoying unspecific small truths that kind of help yet somehow don't.
Hello and welcome back to Bedouin Banter, all of you people on the internets around the Middle East, in the Gulf, and everywhere around the world. We are joined here today for a very special episode with one of my friends from Bahrain as well. We have Ghazi before, and everybody's been kind of coming from a different background, but Eyad, he is known as the father of retro gaming, and he has some of the most extensive libraries as far as anything that dates. What's the oldest thing you own?
Not own anything after the Dreamcast. I don't care much.
So your majority, like 99% of what you own is retro gaming. You have a background as well as, was it IT specialist or was it?
No, I studied genetics, believe it or not.
Genetics?
Yes.
Interesting.
I told you, I'm a X-Men fan, so
That's right.
That seemed natural.
For those of you that don't know him that well, he actually has, in my opinion, one of my favorite gaming channel or review channels as well on the internet. It's called For Geeks Eyes Only. You can follow him at, the tag is at For Geek
For
Size
Geek
Only.
Size Only.
That's the one.
Thank you very much for the humble introduction. In my opinion, I could go on for hours, but thank you very much. You did me justice there.
You tried to.
And I want to laugh just for 5 seconds on the podcast name because you haven't told me the name.
I didn't tell you before. That's right.
I just heard it just now.
So many people get surprised. They're like, which one did you pick? Because unknown to you listeners, I had like a list of about 100 that I sent to my friends. And there was a top 3 that was Digital Dunes.
Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
that was one. Bedouin Banter is this one. Of course, this was one of the crowd favorites. I think the other one was the Middle East Exchange. But
cheesy and too corporate.
Yeah, but those were my boring friends, so I figured out quickly it wasn't gonna work.
Banter is a nice word. I love it, and it's not used that much over here.
And I think it represents maybe the show in the purest, simplest way, maybe, and it rolls off the tongue. I can say Bedouin Banter, Bedouin Banter, Bedouin Banter, but I can't say the other ones.
BB. And the same thing process happened to me and my brother when we chose For Geek Size Only.
Yeah.
Like we had a huge list and we kept modifying it, and we were like at a table as big as this one. Right? And we were it was a meeting, like it was a corporate meeting to decide the future of the channel.
Right.
So what should we name it? We had so many names, man. And every time we come up with a name, I go to Google and just create an account with it just in case, you know.
Just block it off, make sure nobody takes it. Yeah. I know how you feel. That process is really special for me because I don't know if it's the ego playing out or...
It is the ego.
You
sometimes.
think, oh my God, this is the beginning of something. Maybe like, a year from now, the name will become a movie. It'll become maybe a comic book. It'll be synonymous with something really bad. That bastard went to jail or got put behind bars for some reason.
Bedouin Banter, the Khalid Dosari story, only on Hollywood.
Oh, it's like the Room, right? They're making a movie about the Room. Have you seen that?
He's making a movie, the same day.
Is he?
Yeah. I think he's planning to do The Room 2 or just the story of how they made it.
What's his name again? He has a Wiseau.
Wiseau.
Wiseau? Is it Wiseau? It's
Tommy
French.
Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau. I think he's Polish who's pretending to be French or something. Something like that. He definitely does not... I don't think he's French at all.
Tommy Wiseau has to be the luckiest guy on earth or the smartest guys on earth because he's making money behind the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
You know?
That's something to be said, Yanni. I think this is the year of hope for me. Like so many people, really, like I joke about it, but so many people are so depressed, stuff like Trump happening.
Oh my God!
And
don't
people
get me
that
started.
yeah, exactly, people that think that this is terrible for history, terrible for economies and global politics, everything else. But this movie exactly the same thing, terrible for movies, but it gives you hope because if these guys can make it, then anybody can make it.
Exactly.
Anybody can make it, and that's probably why this show will not be the worst thing in the world. If I'm lucky, it is the worst thing in the world as far as what comes out of the Middle East, and it will definitely not be the best thing. But most likely, like everything else in my life, will be very average.
Wishing you all the best with the podcast.
Thank
and
you.
We're here to help, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, because
I need to talk. I need to let out.
Go ahead.
Got so much. I don't want to say frustration. Podcasts and videos these days, they're all about people complaining. That's that's like the top things on YouTube.
Right.
An angry video game nerd who talks about movies. A guy who talks about everybody talks about bad movies.
Yes.
Now.
Yeah.
And like even good movies today in the cinema, people go out, they have to bring out at least one negative thing.
Something that they're pissed off about.
Yeah.
It is the outrage culture, Yanni.
Yeah,
I hate it even
exactly.
like video games. I can't read forums anymore. I cannot.
Yeah, you can't read
It's
anything.
just, it doesn't matter how like hopeful or shit good or anything. There's always going to be just hate. That is it.
Can I say something very controversial in this geek culture age?
I would kick you out if you didn't. Tell me.
People might
Just
hate
make sure
me.
it's not local politics.
What? Local what?
Local what?
We have politics over here.
That's a below the belt right there. That's an insight into the reality of this country and many others around where we very much enjoy living. And if you're paying attention out there and you're somewhere in a little room, taking notes, remember, we have only the best intentions for everybody here.
I don't pay attention to politics. I don't have any effect on it.
Exactly.
I don't see it affecting me that much over here.
Exactly. But
So just live your life, bro.
yeah.
So the controversial thing, and remember, controversy creates cash.
That's
So
true.
let's test this out.
That's true.
I don't think The Phantom Menace is the worst movie ever. Like, a lot of people make it seem like it's the worst movie
Do
ever.
they still say that?
Yeah.
Do they
like
mean
you
the worst
mentioned,
Star Wars movie or the worst movie?
Star Wars, and they rank it up with the worst movie. But you have to remember, I think it's like the most one that grossed ever. Like,
Was it?
yeah,
From all the Star Wars
from all the
movies.
Star Wars movies.
I think it's because of the anticipation. 1999. I remember being at the States at the time about freaking out because it's like,
I remember freaking out. It
Yeah.
was my first Star Wars movie. That's why maybe I love it more than the rest.
do
but-
you love it more than the
Yeah,
rest?
my favorite is Empire, of course. But
Okay, all right. That's the safe answer, though. That's what, you could have become neutral and went Return of the Jedi and just be like, okay, because Jedi was the one everybody used to have controversy about. You remember that? Like, especially a lot of my American friends, because I didn't know this at all. When I was growing up in Saudi and I first time saw it. Return of the Jedi was the one we couldn't get. All right. And because of the Jabba Palace,
Really?
yes, that was controversial, and the whole like until when we finally got the proper VHSs came out, and they figured out how to edit movies and had the time and effort to do it, they removed the whole Princess Leia slave outfit thing.
But that's the best part.
It's the best part, exactly. It's in the desert. It's relatable to me. You know what I mean? It's all there. It's made for me and my people. But yeah, I remember when that came out, my American friends used to make fun of me. I'd say it was my favorite. And for me, it was the favorite because I was a fan of sci-fi. You could see around the room. For those of you who cannot, it is just full of posters. There's all about like Battlestar Galactica, my xenomorph skull. And yeah, I'm a sci-fi nut. And forget about how not sci-fi Star Wars is. Many people make that argument as well. And it's probably...
I make that argument to
Yes.
people who say, oh, you like Star Wars, pew pew.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
Yes, exactly.
it's probably one of the deepest stories I ever saw. If you like, there's not much Star Wars in Star Wars, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I loved about Return of the Jedi is that it's for the first time, I think, on TV, you see an amazing space fight. Like battles, like squadrons and ships and capital ships and Admiral Akbar going, it's a trap. We're going to go point blank because they're Star Destroyers. Stuff like that. I just like, I freaked out. I was just a whore for CGI. A whore for like, it wasn't CGI even, it was just the miniatures or the models, whatever they used for that. But I just loved it so much, it caught my eye. And I was playing a lot of Space Simulator games at the time. And it was like, this is as close as I'm going to get to anything like that. And that used to get me a lot of hate from my friends because I didn't know that it was people who were like, Jedi's for the people that like furry little Ewok people and bear people and wearing costumes.
That's the thing. I never care. Like, if something annoys me in a movie, I don't hold it against the movie, you know?
You just tune it out.
Yeah, like Jar Jar. I don't know how I felt exactly when I first saw Jar Jar, but later on, like you mentioned, the forums. You can't read forums. Even that day, that's the problem that Phantom fell in. It was the advent of the internet and forums, and people had lots of opinions and not organized opinions. So, you know, they just threw whatever and saw what stick. And, oh, Jar Jar is racist. It stuck.
That's right, yeah. It's anything and everything they will find. And it's... Go ahead.
Have you heard the Jar Jar theory? Darth Jar Jar theory?
Yes, that he's actually Plagueis. That he could be manipulating the whole situation from the start. Yeah, I still think this is possible, but maybe he's not Plagueis. But now people are saying he's Snoke.
Yeah,
or,
he's not big as those, but he had a bigger role. And Lucas said that himself in the like. And what was
it? The one scene where he turns to the camera and smiles. Have you seen that?
No, he said in later movies he's gonna be like there is a reveal for Jar Jar, but we never got that.
I think Lucas is just I think he recognized the hate that he had, and he was like, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm just gonna make you hate him now. Because there is that one scene that people point to. Jar Jar in the second movie, I think it was the third movie. I can't remember, episode 2 or 3. But he's walking through the Senate. He's with the senators. He's one of the representatives of Naboo at the time. And he's not really part of the movie. But he puts them in there. And he kind of, I swear, breaks the fourth wall, looks directly at the camera as they're moving on, and smiles at you like, yeah, hate me, mother. Just hate me. I'm here forever.
If you made one of the best movies I ever saw and people hated you on, you'd do that.
Yeah.
I excuse Lucas.
Well,
he gave us more good things than bad things.
Well, see, this is the thing I personally might not relate to a lot of people. I'm going to pull out the Saudi card here. I'm going to do it repeatedly throughout the show for any of you that get bothered.
Wait, I didn't bring my Bahraini card.
I know, right?
No.
We probably should explain to people that you are Bahraini in the first place. They can't see your brown skin. So
yes, my blood runs red like the river of your blood.
Yes, it does.
Yes,
like the river of blood that Moses brings onto the people.
No,
No?
what
No.
I said sounded like something from Westeros, but
Okay, I'm gonna stay back from that then. Avoid the biblical references while you're on the air. But as I was saying, I noticed that even me growing up in that country and everywhere else, there's an appreciation for what can be done right. So if you're a friend that goes out, makes a movie, right, and it's but you're so used to a culture that is that just gives up a lot, or projects just don't go through, falls through the cracks. People just are not motivated to kind of try something. It's either all or nothing. I noticed that mentality.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, like the point of making anything good here seems to be, like, this is my theory. If you have a counter theory or opinion, you're welcome to share it with me and I will consider it. But unless I see different, I won't change my mind. Like, okay, we're going to make a movie. Okay, well, what's the goal of making the movie? Making something great and then just claiming to that greatness of that one movie for the rest of my life.
Well,
so when you fail because you put all your effort into something and then you fail, then you stop.
Right.
Because what's the use? I failed that time.
Right.
What's the
because
difference?
it is we have a culture here of fail or succeed, but the flip side of it, for those who don't know, me and Eyad were kind of talking about this before the show, and it's just my frustration personally with this idea that there are people that watch the content if it comes out from the Middle East or from people they know, and they're just so proud of it, and sometimes in a good way, sometimes in an undeserved bad way. But there is either a flip side where it's full appreciation that somebody went out and tried the effort, or just full condemnation for trying something that is not 100% perfect. And that reflects in any kind of content creator. They are always living on that knife's edge of, is my stuff as good as it can be, but then maybe not meeting the expectations in a healthy way. And so it just either burns out, fizzles out. A lot of, egos are burst. A lot of, inter kind of like community disputes and drama. And like, man, honestly, I've seen cosplayers fighting with each other about who, like, your cosplayers, what have you got to fight against with each other? He cannot get in your shot. You can't get into his shot.
Exactly.
But I don't get it. They find it. It's a Bedouin thing. We just fight, man. We just fight over invisible water.
And, like you were mentioning about content creating and stuff, like with my YouTube channel, my videos, I do them in Arabic. From the beginning, I wanted to do it in English. I wanted the whole world to see and hear.
Yeah.
I think gamers over here or pop culturists like really have a different and unique experience than everybody else, especially in the West. So we're not basically copying what they do. We don't play the games they play just because they play them. No.
Right, yeah. But admittedly, I went through that phase though, because you don't know what it's kind of like the Japanese during like that Meiji era. If you ever watched Rurouni Kenshin or anything else, or you studied history, not stuttered history, but if you studied any Japanese history, not being pretentious as I am about that, but just specifically that era, it was like the Japanese were trying to figure out how the West was successful. And they decided, we're just going to copy everything.
Have you seen Japan in the 1920s? It's not different than New York.
Because they thought, we'll just be like Europeans.
Exactly.
And somehow we'll succeed.
Japanese people walking with top hats. That's not a stereotype. They used to
yes,
do that.
That is a thing. Yeah.
Top hats, like the Abraham Lincoln top hats.
Yeah. It's overcompensation in the other extreme, right?
Yeah.
And then you kind of like come back to the middle and figure out, well, this is something that the West does, right? I'll take that. This is something that doesn't work for us, or we can't translate it in our culture. But we still have that. We have people here that will, and I'm sure some of you bastards out there are going,
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you fucking nugget, you bastard, trying to sound like an American. I know this is going on, but
plus, or that other type, the maybe left side of the chicken nuggets and whatever.
Yes, yeah.
He'd say, "Oh, but the West stole a lot of technologies and books from us." And
crap! It's like, dude, a culture is global, Yanni. What do you want? Like, it's
Yeah.
we're all sharing the same stuff.
knowledge is knowledge.
Yeah.
The Chinese created gunpowder, but who perfected the gun?
Exactly.
Like the West.
Exactly. There's a ton of stuff that just goes back and forth, and
The Chinese used them for fireworks.
Yeah.
The Americans, the West used them for firepower.
Exactly. I was telling people at the start of the show, like the pilot episode, that it's really annoying because you can be stuck in both sides of the world. So I'm not one of those chicken nuggets that does not associate with مثلا بدوي ولا جماعتنا والله الربع. Like I have friends of mine from Saudi that are like
I'm sure some of you bastards out there that think you're like you represent Arab patriotism at its finest, you would not hang out with these guys.
Exactly.
You would find them embarrassing and awkward. Well, it's just a fact of what kind of culture do you feel like you want to represent. And
Exactly. I say this a lot, and people don't get it. I say to people, I'm an amphibian. It's not that I disassociate with these people, and I say no. I'm me. I can be in this room. I can be in that room.
can be that room,
I
yeah.
can be in that bunker. I can be in that penthouse.
Right.
Whatever.
no shame as well. Yeah.
People don't get that.
Well, some people feel like you gotta pick and choose.
Yeah.
Some.
Exactly.
I don't, because this is for me. This is the point of this kind of a show, is to showing that this kind of a culture, that you can call it chicken nugget culture here, but I've noticed chicken nuggets exist in China, in the Philippines, in Korea, in the States. Everywhere there is like this same subculture that grew up watching the same movies, watching Goonies, watching Back to the Future. They got onto forums at around the same time. That's why meme culture, if you go to like 9gag or anything like 4chan, there's no one like nationality that defines it. It's universal. Yeah. So you get this kind of like, I feel we're the first generation of people to prove that cross-culture globalism is not necessarily a bad thing, because we all kind of retain our own unique comedy. Let's say, for example, like Arab comedy, you'll see it come out in 4chan sometimes when somebody links a specific kind of like, post, or this is what we do with our cars back home.
It's funny.
It is funny. Yeah. And that kind of meme travels. It becomes viral, and then people take that and they do the Western version of it. Yeah. So like, I don't know why people want to pick and choose. It's a crap.
Okay. We went off topic, but like with my
way
channel,
off topic, into
like,
the black hole.
I'll make a video and it'll be nice and everything, and I'll be proud of it. And I'll get these weird comments, not from everybody, but the problem is when it comes from a follower that like has been there from the beginning and supported me all the time. Eyad, I know your content is in Arabic. Like people really at the beginning had to force me, Eyad, don't do English, try Arabic.
Right.
Get your grounds here, get to be known here, then do English. Like I have my English scripts ready. I can just start whenever.
And what was the reasoning?
Just to pick up as much followers from here, because you're gonna be in events here. You can
but I don't see the point.
Yourself.
I feel like if you're always gonna be worst at what you're not passionate about than as good as what you are good at, because you're not gonna.
I'm passionate. It's the same topics.
Yeah.
It's just the language at the end.
But do you lose a little bit of your characterization? Do you feel like you're more?
Yes, my expressions mostly.
Yeah.
Because I like English. You have like so many words for the same thing that come in levels, like epic, legendary, awesome, amazing.
Yeah.
Arabic, ajib.
Well, I know what you mean. Like, it's not the same level of.
Like, if you look at all my comments, they're all ajib, ajib, ajib. I got sick of the word.
Yeah, ajib for you guys that don't know, English speakers and heretics all alike, you blasphemous people, you Westerners, scum.
The infidels.
The infidels of the world.
I am pointing my index finger up. So
straight into the sky. That's a true threat right there. Whereas the ajib is like amazing, like great. It's pretty much represents multiple things all at the same time. And
there is Raw'a or
Falla.
Falla is very local. It's not.
Yeah. But those are the ones that are kind of emerging from nothingness. They're becoming a thing.
And some
now.
of them are extinct. Like nobody uses them anymore. Like I haven't heard Raw'a in a long time.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If slowly, little by little, we're gonna see. I feel, and you tell me if I'm wrong about this.
An Arab Renaissance?
Yes. Well, because they're letting us talk in the way we talk around our friends. Because for like, I had a white friend who was living in Bahrain, and he's like a proper, like, you hear him, Harragi. He's white. He's white, like American. He looks like Captain America. Like that's how white he is. Okay, like Conan O'Brien had a baby with Captain America. He's
nice chin there, strong chin.
Yes, chiseled, like he's made out of the same factory that they all come from. After that, but that guy, he grew up in Harak. Like his dad was like selling sports vitamins. He was kind of like a trainer here and everything else. But when he spoke Arabic, it was our Arabic, the street level, right? But a lot of people, when they're from the West or anywhere else, and they learn Arabic, they learn al-Fusha, al-Mu'tadil, or the whatever it is that they're kind of trained to, the proper qawa'id and everything else. And then they show up here and they feel a massive disconnect. They're like, what the hell? Like, I spent all this time learning a language and it's useless.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's to me what I hope this new language will become. Because for those of you that don't know, me and Eyad, we kind of recently did commentary in Arabic. For the online esports game Overwatch. right? It was for a local tournament, everything else. And
No. It was a MENA region
yes,
tournament.
sorry, you're correct, 100%. The studio we were broadcasting in was locally in Bahrain, and it was for the whole region. That was comfortable for me because usually I don't get to talk in my Arabic. Out of that, like, it's just, it felt natural, yani, especially with you guys.
And see, a lot of people like thank me for this. Like when I talk to them, like I have Emirati friends, Saudi friends, Kuwaiti friends. When I'm Kuwait, I speak their tongue
Yeah.
because I know it.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt to not speak it. So I just.
Do you
speak
feel
it.
like you might offend them a little bit?
No. Even like in
Because Bahrain and Kuwaiti is, it's like you can hide.
But UAE depends on where you are. Oh, it's different, man.
Yeah.
Hey boy, what if you So I get like messages from my fans. Eyad, your video was amazing, but I felt like it was very Western. The video was in Arabic. What do you mean very Western? No, the ideas, the way you presented, the way you stand. I'm like,
what is that? That's people. That's not Western. That's people. That's what I don't think they get.
So he's like, I feel like he made a point with this. He's like, I feel like you wrote the video in English and then just translated. I'm like, that's exactly what I did. Because the information on the internet of a video game that was made in America comes in English. It doesn't come in Arabic.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
But I'm a fast translator. So for me, writing it in English is way better for me.
Yeah.
Than writing it, because if I write it in Arabic, wait, what does it say here? The game is slippery.
You can't do direct translations. It's just really like sometimes you can, and what you did was you took something in English and you kind of converted it to the equal kind of loose language that you'd find here.
When I speak, but written, I need it to be written in English.
Yeah.
So I've gotten that comment a lot, but I'm like, is the video good? They're like, yeah, but try to make it more Arab. I'm like, how?
How?
They send me a video of this guy and that guy. I'm like, I'm not trying to imitate guys. Since what you're telling me right now tells me that I'm unique, but you're kind of telling me I'm not unique in an indirect way.
And then they complain that you're not unique. Like and this is the kind of the mind happens to me.
This guy is doing it and it's successful. Just do what he does.
Why? You guys want I've never seen a place where I've honestly, I love my people, I love my friends.
Oh my god!
It is just they want something different, but they want the same.
They want the same, exactly. Just same but different face. Okay, we'll have the same content, whatever. Like I'm not trying to bash anybody on YouTube, but like let's say somebody does a video. You're going to see that video 5-4 times at least. Same video, just different faces.
Right.
Nobody adds not one grain of salt to his video to make it unique.
Yes.
Which is sad.
Because they're following a formula. They're thinking that this is how you succeed.
And video games, man. Video games is it's not like a movie. It's an experience. You can play the whole thing, but it could play out for you differently.
Well, it's the same thing people when they listen to podcasts, right? I know for some of you, maybe, I don't know, maybe I do add enough of my own character or personality into this, maybe not. But for at least some of you out there, if you listen to a podcast, maybe not mine, somebody else's, or you watch a certain YouTuber or a caster, a streamer, whatever it is, the best thing that you enjoy, I remember hearing Kevin Smith say this once about him watching movies, right? Yeah. He'd say, I never see movies about me. And he meant his guys, his culture.
Yeah.
Right? So he just went out and did movies that were about the things he understood and what his friends talked like and how other people he knew talked like. And that became such a cultural hit for everybody there and translated to so many people globally.
Kevin Smith was one of the first people to reference movies and movies. Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Wars to be specific. Like Kevin Smith's story.
Nobody talked like that before.
So inspirational to me. And I have a lot of friends that are directors, and when I mentioned Kevin, but he's fat. His movies are boring.
Yeah, but it's what he represents. That's what they don't get. I think he really does go against the system there, and
exactly. Yeah, that's what I like. Even though like saying I'm counterculture and whatever, over here it's so negative, man. Yeah, like for me, I'm totally like I don't know how to say it. Yeah, well, I'm super nonconformist, man. Yeah, like. Before I got this gig job that I'm working right now, you would never see me wear a suit because I just hate it. It's not comfortable. And
well, how do you go to work in a suit or a thobe? What do you?
I would love to go to thobe, but
they don't let you.
No. How can I put this? my movements were not made for thobe,
Oh,
man. And especially my height, man. Just sitting and getting up is a hassle
for
me.
for the people that can't see him at home, he's a pretty big and tall guy. Like, and I can emphasize the
Big
tall.
and big.
Yeah,
I'm thick boned. Like
he
they
is
say.
scary, by the way. If I would love to one day see him slap somebody.
No, man. People pay me to slap people, and I never took like $100.
Really?
Yeah, then
That's
why, man?
yeah.
Keep your image clean, I guess.
Where'd you grow up again? In Senate or?
Santa Day 212 brother represent.
I didn't even know there was like a postcode thing to it. It's like, Miami Beach 305 or whatever.
Because no, our neighborhood is very calm. It's like
Yeah. But Senate is like pure Bahrain. That's like really.
Sanad means middle, so middle
Yeah,
of Bahrain.
yeah.
But like Sanad was nothing, basically like a few houses and blocks. But now it's different.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I don't know, it was very quiet, similar to here right now. An area would never come if you have.
This is a
don't
very
live here.
white area, though.
Yeah, very.
I was telling him earlier, there's like the area I'm in is it's perfect for Saudis because we feel very protected,
Very isolated.
very isolated, surrounded by white people, and where the white people are, it tends to be a lot of security. So maybe that doesn't do well for my image for you bastards calling me a chicken nugget out there. But we'll take on the challenge. We'll see how identity goes, and I dare anybody. You know what?
Let the chicken fillets and the burgers.
Let the
fry,
chicken
man.
fillets, the coconuts, everything, all of you around the world, show your power. Be proud.
I want to show you a picture of me wearing thobe because I like wearing thobe, to be honest, but it's not comfortable. It's for me at least, and I don't like the normal nesfa of the vitrat.
Yeah.
I just love the hamdani, like the Emiratis do.
Oh, you just like the
I perfected it. Like a Saudi guy taught me. No, he wasn't dosari. He was atabi. Like one day I came and it looked horrible. He's like, "Ta, come here. That's not how you wear it." He's like, "Did you learn? Do I have to do it again? Okay, I'll do it again."
Yeah, for the listeners back home, for the listeners at your host, for your listeners in abroad and places that don't know what a qatra or shmag or anything else, this is the headscarf or the head wrap.
It's not the turban.
Not the turban, no. But
It's the flying Lipton headscarf.
is it a headscarf? Would be
It
called.
is a headscarf.
Yeah, headscarf. Yeah, and it's like the way they do it in the Emirates, they wrap it in a very specific way, and it looks badass. Whenever you've seen Instagram accounts, like it's the best one that looks good with shades.
Exactly.
It looks really good with the shades. I have to
Yeah.
say, I admit it. It's like if you see a guy with a tiger, usually has that.
Exactly. And it helps that they don't have kings, but their leaders, their president
Right.
wears it as well.
Yeah.
It gives it that authenticity. You know?
It's formal and informal at the same
Yeah,
time. It's such a
exactly.
weird thing.
I told my work, if you'd let me, I'd come like that every day, and I'll do the best job.
But they
ever.
don't.
Yeah.
I think the Omanis have it best with the little gahviya thing.
Yeah.
Because they just put it on and that's it. They're done. But I can't tell if that's formal or informal for them. It's an unusual one for us. But yeah, that's I think like it always seems to come back to identity in this show. And Eyad, as he just kind of described for everybody, is somebody that sees it from maybe the same perspective I do. Would you agree to say?
We're all chicken nuggets, brother.
Yeah, to somebody's eye. Yeah,
We came from the same pack.
but that's the thing, though. Like there's like
We're
levels.
branded the same. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
we're-
levels to us. There's I remember this guy once told me, was it
No,
that
you wear Batman shirt, you wear Superman shirt, you're
Yeah.
the same. You are exactly the same in everything. You wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning, both of you, and
Yeah.
you go to bed at 10.
But you know what the is? Like I said, I'm very comfortable around all my very conservative friends. Like not a word of English. We'd hang out, we'd watch anime together. Everything else is fine, and they'd always make me feel like this because it's like the second I start talking to an American and they hear the accent, they hear the language, they hear everything else. There's something that clicks in their eyes. There's almost like a form of betrayal there. I don't know why. I have no idea why. And it's so ironic that the second they need it, we're at the embassy together. They're like, oh, you sound very white, and you're like, and I'm like country club white for them.
My
It's like
God.
perfect.
Golf club, what? Oh my God. Same, brother.
Yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, when I went to study in Australia, I kind of told myself, I quasi told myself, okay, don't make Arab friends there. You're in the West. I knew a lot of people that were from Bahrain studying there.
But
I
that's
said,
a common thing, though.
Yeah, I didn't say like, no, they are bad. You are not talking to them. No, I said,
Yeah.
we have in Bahrain Saudis, Kuwaitis, Qataris.
Yeah. You want to
every-
explore.
every day. So I'm like I'm at down under, brother.
Yeah.
So might as well meet new people because the Arabs over there, all they do stick in groups.
Yes, it's true. Very clicky.
From the day he was born in Australia until the day he leaves, same.
It's a safety net. It's a bubble. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's. I need to feel comfortable.
So
Just for a reference, where did you study in Australia?
I studied in Brisbane, mate.
Brisbane. That's the same as my wife. Exact same town.
Seriously?
Yeah. So,
Which university?
I don't know. Maybe,
Queensland.
maybe I think so.
QIT.
I think so.
Griffith.
I think it was Queensland. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a really good university.
Is it
Then
now?
you're
It's still Australia though, so. It's like-
then she's smart, man.
Is she?
No, yeah.
All right,
It's a
tell her
good
that
university.
because she doesn't believe me when I tell her.
So
But yeah, so what was it like there? You
so the first couple of weeks I was fine. Like all my classes was good until they changed my math class and stuck me in the class with all the Arab kids and the Muslim kids. I just realized that everybody in that class was Muslim for some
is
reason.
this the English language kind of like year? The
the first year.
Yeah.
It was basically high school. For me, I aced everything except I had troubles with one thing, but I got really good at
Yeah,
that.
they put me in that too.
I'll tell you what, it was called research art, which is basically how to write proper essays and whatever and presentations and all that. First semester I messed up, but first semester was like 30%
Yeah.
of the whole year. Second semester is 70% and it's one like project. So they gave us the list of projects and I'm like, I don't like any of these projects. They suck. They sound like high school projects.
Right.
I'm in Australia, mate. I want to do
Yeah, I understand that. The first year, especially if your English is good, as your English is really good as well. So
my
it can
English
get
got bad when
because
I
of
went-
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. It's the influence.
Yeah. And so what happened was I said, teacher, can I, our teacher was goth. She was amazing, but everybody hated
She
her.
was a goth?
She was a goth.
No.
Yeah.
Like she showed up and
full goth.
no way.
Wallah.
I'm
And
loving Australia now.
Australia was amazing. You get these teachers.
So doesn't that intimidate all the Arab people there? Because this is the first thing they see. Like, you can isolate the ones that have culture shock. If you can't handle the goth, you shouldn't be in Australia. Get the hell out. I don't know why Australians sounded like rednecks, but
Some parts. Okay, so what happened was I said, can I pick a topic? She's like, yeah, just run it through me. I'm like, positive influences of video games.
Okay.
She's like, yeah, but can you be more specific? I'm like, well, for starters, this was in 2008. I'm like, online gaming is a big thing right now. And it kind of separated all the gamers. So everybody stayed at home. So I'm like,
Yes,
in the 90s, when I
you
was,
were used
when-
to couching. You were with your friend.
Arcades.
Yeah,
I focused on the
yeah,
arcades.
Same here.
Man, so many things that like I read and put on that essay, like video games help you in your eye and hand coordination,
That's right, yeah.
stress and
Problem-solving
socialing.
skills. Yeah. Well, if you play the right game, then definitely. And if I could write a paper as well about this, I would say the truth, which is gaming is so good for, depending on which game you play, the skills will be isolated on certain things. Some are all around great skills to have, and others maybe not so much. But, you know, you go to the arcades, you go to anywhere where, for example, let's say fighting games.
That was a social
Yes.
experience for me. I was
Yes.
like 5 or 6 and I was socializing, man.
Yeah. First time I went to an arcade and I saw a community kind of like playing together over King of Fighters, all the SNK games, you know, Samurai. Oh, he's showing you
Here
the
you
picture.
see.
He finally found it. He's like been looking through his phone for like an hour to find it. He's wearing. I have to kind of post this later for people to enjoy it.
I'll send it.
Right.
Okay, so
But yeah,
for that semester, I got the full 70 mark.
you got that mark
70 full.
because you wrote a paper about arcades.
Gaming and positive
Did you review a
influences of gaming.
specific game about?
No.
like,
Just
not-
interactions of the players and the.
Were you honest about some of the negative stuff? Did you say?
Yeah, I
like,
mentioned a lot of negative
Like,
stuff.
well-
You had to.
you had to, right? Yeah.
But that's what I started with, online gaming. Everybody's stuck in their room. And
Yeah.
the comfort of talking to anyone, anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's weird how that works because I was talking about this in the first episode that there's so many of my, very like prominent relationships with people that changed my life. For example, I was playing World of Warcraft for a very long time when it first came out and everything else. And there's people that I met for over like maybe a period of 3 years, would raid with them heavily, you know, play on this competitive level. And then a group of them, we got so like it started becoming like, well, you hit a climax. Either you're escaping forever, right? You're just trying to get out of something, or you decide, you know, I'm going to get to know people. So I met these people in real life. For the first time, traveled to the Philippines, learned how to kite surf from them, right? Learned kite surfing in the Philippines, backpacking for about a month. And with people I had never seen in real life before. It was just an entire like online relationship. And to me, I saw the two sides of it. It can be extremely unhealthy or extremely amazing for your sense of discovery, your adventure, your coordination with random cultures you never thought you would come in contact with.
Now, there's something that our people don't do as well. Backpacking.
Yes.
Going in the outback to the bush. And
Well,
we're the desert people.
Well,
Come
it's
on.
but it's happening now. If you notice, there's people in Bahrain, a lot of people going to Oman. Like,
Hipsters.
yeah, you're right. They are hipsters.
Okay, you're going, but you don't have to shove it in my face. I've
Right.
been doing it a lot, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know where I went.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I've been there, yeah.
Well, I think you're right because it's funny. Used to, like my dad used to always
But
go.
I'm going to say a point, a lot of people might hate me for it. People go to these places now to say, I went there.
Yes,
Just to come back. No sense of exploring or anything.
How did you get? Did you have? My dad was a falcon. Like نطلع البر, I went out to the desert, translate for you guys. Like everything. Like he was hardcore about it. And then when it was summer, it was the fishing, right?
Mm-hmm.
For you, did you always start off as a backpacker, somebody who was outdoorsy and wanting to go to trips, or was it this part of like a new experience personally for you?
No, I don't do it casually, but like if I'm somewhere, like let's say, okay, a lot of people go to America. Where do they go to?
Well, clubs. That's the first thing on everybody's mind as far as my
I was
people.
gonna say Vegas, but you're close.
Yeah, it's the clubs in Vegas. For example. Yeah.
But if I go to America, which is my dream, and I haven't gone there because I don't want to go with any commitment. I don't want to go as a student. I don't want to go as a tourist. I'm going there to get lost, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You want to see what you can't find.
I'm gonna land in JFK, and I'm not gonna see any concrete buildings for a long time.
Why would you go to New York then? Why
I'll just land there.
like
Landing, just there.
Connecticut? Connecting flight. I don't know why I said Connecticut. There's some association in my head with that. It was a terrible trip at once. But you just connect and you go to somewhere else, and you're traveling on rural America, the beautiful countryside, the amazing reserves. I had so many friends as well, Saudi or otherwise, that did not know that they have amazing parks, nature parks. All these preserves.
Yellowstone is just the one they advertise.
Yeah, but it's huge. It's tons. Like just driving through the country alone is amazing.
Again, this is how good talking to you is. Let's go back to the class with all the Muslim kids.
Yes, all the Muslim kids
So,
are intimidated by the golf teacher.
I was so pissed. So I'm like, oh God, no, not this class. And I usually sit in the back row, not because I'm a naughty kid or anything, but I'm tall and that's where I feel comfortable, in the dark corner where I belong.
Just there, brewing.
And it was full already with all the kids. And I just sat kind of away from them. And then by the third or second week, I think, one guy, because the bell rings and I run out straight to the next class to avoid.
Was yours multicultural or because mine was dominated by our people?
No,
and then
the other universities, because I think you guys, Saudi had a sponsorship with the other universities, but not ours.
Right.
So Saudis, we had little actually. We had one guy actually with us.
Yeah, because it's always the two. If you've never been an international student who went to an ESLE or whatever, say English language class or that, you'll notice the two dominant cultures, at least in the UK, was 70-60% Saudi.
Yeah.
Then 30-35% Chinese. And then the random Nigerian somewhere, do you know? That's the other the others of the world.
You meet a lot of people. So I usually always run out of class. So this time this guy from the back runs behind me and it's like, hey, ta'al. You're Arab, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. And he's like, where are you from? I'm like, Bahrain. He's like, oh, nice. Where are you from? I know people. He's like, come on, dude. Come in class. You don't say hi to anybody.
Yeah.
Just
Get to know us. What's wrong with you, Eyad?
He's like, no, man. I'm, just. I don't know what excuse I gave him, but he's like, give me your number. Let's hang out tonight. I'm like, I don't have my phone. He's like, I saw your phone in class, dude.
Oh no way, dude. He's hitting on you, man.
He's like, write down my number, and I didn't write it. I just held my phone. He's like, give me your phone. He's like,
see, he seems like a positive, forward person, Yanni.
yeah, but. this guy today is one of my best friends.
That's good. See?
Yeah, like that day was a Thursday or a Friday. I went out with him and I stayed in his place for 2 weeks.
I'm not gonna ask what happened in those 2 weeks.
No, he had
but-
like a huge McMansion, man, and I just had a room for myself.
See, man, he felt lonely. I think maybe he was like,
Yeah, there were people there, but but at the end, out of all the Arabs there, we were the odd ones. We were the odd group because each of us had like a different hobby or interest.
What was he into?
He was into a lot of things, but mainly he was basically a rapper. Underground.
Living the dream in Brisbane. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, what did you guys like? Did you go to one of his shows? Did you like help him out?
He records at home. He had like a nice small set. And,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Get beats.
Was it like was he trying to like? Was a passion of his? Because I know a bunch of guys I met there that was honestly they deserve to live there. Like they deserve to kind of like try to be big or do something.
But it's always no. I have to go back home.
Yeah,
the family's
yes,
there.
always that. But you feel like sometimes you don't know where they are or what they want. But you felt this guy was like legit about it. He wanted to.
No, I think he still raps in UAE.
Does he do it in Arabic or English?
Arabic and English.
Both.
But when you were there, mostly English. But I listened to his Arabic tracks as well.
Oh, that's cool. But he wasn't forced into it, right? Like not like us. Like, or you at least. I'm not. I get to get away with being the white person in the white community. Yeah. It's funny. Like that experience for me was it's oddly I met people in Wales when I was studying there that they were friends of mine, great people. Some of them from Jeddah, West Coast Saudi, and other people from like Kuwait, Khafji, I don't know where else. And you have fun when there's extremes. Our people are very bipolar people. You either like instantly love them, they're your brothers, you know what I mean?
And people call me a Gemini, but
I'm a Gemini too.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is everybody sitting with this?
It's because we're crazy, man, I guess. I don't know what it means. Apparently, like
I don't believe it, but people, you're such a Gemini.
They're so into it. My wife got me saying that now. She's like, I never used to say that. I'm like a hardcore science person, so I don't really.
Science is the only way method.
Yeah, so whenever she says Gemini, I just try to think of Battlestar Galactica. Like, I'm from the planet of the Geminis. That's where I'm from. But no, she was really into that and believes it fully. And I think I read somewhere that it's not even accurate because the horoscopes you have today are not aligned with today's the stellar drift of stars and planets.
Okay.
So what you think is actually you're a Gemini, you could actually be a Taurus if you're updated. Because the Sumerian calendar, whatever it is 2,000 years off of the mark, as far as stellar drift between planets and all that other stuff and stars.
Quick story. I knew somebody who used to work in a newspaper. So one day the guy who writes the horoscope is sick for a week. So they assigned this guy to write horoscopes.
Right.
And he calls in the guy, so where are your books and where are your sources?
Would they actually write it? Like there's a person to...
Like the guy who puts it there in the newspaper.
Okay, but he like copy pastes it from somewhere.
so
he's not like studied the thing or... Like
I don't know.
Legit horoscopy, like
I didn't ask.
Mars is in retrograde and whatnot is in.
So he calls up the guy. So what are your sources? Where do I write the
Right.
stuff? He's like, just make up anything, dude. Come on. And he did, and people started complaining.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he say? Was he like? Did he offer like?
Yeah. He
gave
some
bad
stupid
advice to me.
things.
He's like, you guys are gonna die.
Yeah. He said that.
No way.
He said that.
Oh my god. Because you're not supposed like it's supposed to always be advice or good news. That
Or
applies
something very general, and
very
basic.
generic,
Yeah.
applies to anything. You know what I mean? That anybody would look at it and be like, that is me. I'm kind of like that. I feel like I'm gonna get money today, or I like
And
to.
you find like 10 fills on the floor.
And you're like, yes,
it was true. Hey, it didn't say an amount. It said money.
or it's like it could have been Bitcoin, okay, or Wow Gold, or whatever it is you're into.
Anyway, so like going back to that class, and when my friend met me, I'm always doing this. I'm drifting and
Don't worry about it.
digressing.
This is the
But
best
that's
part.
me. That's me.
That's the best part. Don't
If
worry
I
about
didn't
it.
digress, it's not me.
It's what makes it real. This is what people hear. They don't want to hear what like tailored, custom, professional sounding Arabs look like. They want to know what we really talk like.
So
And we are, by the way, we are not representing Arab culture in any way. Arabs are individuals that are diverse and
live in the sand.
live in the
That's
sand. Yeah, I guess.
Give
Yeah,
us-
maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
An advice from me to everybody: just be yourself, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just don't be a criminal. That's
But yeah,
all I ask you to
please stay away from that, or we'll
So-
chop your hands off.
Until my friend Muhammad met me and introduced himself to me, by that time, like the 3 weeks I was in, I became friends with every Japanese person with us in the whole school.
No way.
Yeah.
Was it you guys like?
And they all called me Eddie-chan, Eddie-chan.
Wait, are you a big Japan culture guy? Like, are you
Japan, yeah. People like find it strange when they say, "Oh, you don't watch this anime. You don't watch this anime. How do you know so much about Japan?" Because
Oh, you don't watch anime?
not that much. I love anime, but not to.
That is weird
degree.
though, because I brought it up. I think on the first episode. I think I was saying, you know, that for people that don't know, especially like Western culture people, they don't realize it could be very Arab, not Western, but you could be Arab very into Eastern culture. Otaku, yeah. And those guys never get any. You notice that?
Yeah.
I get because I'm talking like the white people. Why doesn't the guy that talks like the Japanese get right? But-
In Saudi, K-pop is big in Saudi. I'm
Yeah, it
like
is.
shocked. What the?
Huge.
I can't follow the history of it. Can I
huge.
see where it started so I could follow up?
But what is it like? Because you're unusual. You're a unicorn as far as I'm concerned. And
Amphibian.
amphibian unicorn or catacorn or whatever it is.
You just want the horn.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool.
It makes you magical, and then I can claim you as my own. As someone who's met a lot of people that are into Japanese culture, it's very rare that I see somebody who is what I consider into the real Japanese culture.
Yeah, man.
Like, because the Japanese feel offended when you come and you think all they're about is like
Anime. Yeah.
video games, and they're really not like that.
Sonobaka gaijin karo. You know, like for me, like I'll tell you the Japanese aspects within my personality.
Yeah.
I don't want to say huge sushi lover. I'm a huge sushi maker. I love to make sushi.
You make your own sushi?
Yes.
Nice.
I love the Japanese kitchen. Like, not just eating, like the methods.
Preparation.
And the psychology, the ideology behind it. It's so amazing, man.
Philosophy of stuff like
Philosophy, exactly.
Like
That's what I
wabi
was-
sabi, I think, is one of them, or stuff like that. It's like,
No, just like making things simple. And there are a lot of philosophical ideas when you open a business.
right.
And like, let's say if you open a coffee shop, like even your neighbor, the guy who owns the store next to you, like let's say he wants to open a new business, he'll consider you and say, there's a coffee shop next to me. Why should I open a coffee shop?
Right, right.
Let me open something else. So the person who gets the coffee, comes to my store and gets cake.
Yeah.
And so I don't steal his customers, and you know.
It's kind of a unique way of living life.
Yeah,
and
but
this
here you go to
principled
Jidali, every store is a phone shop or a shawarma shop. There's nothing else.
It is-
We don't have any other shops in Bahrain.
You open a really successful like organic shawarma shop. Everybody opens an organic shawarma shop
Next to you. He
Yeah.
buys the building next
Next
to
to
you
you.
just to open that store.
because that's why people like the same reason you were saying before that the people pushed you towards being the same as other game reviewers or commentators and
Yeah.
act like, because that's the formula for us.
And I love Japanese history. I just read about it randomly. Just
Right.
open anything, and Wikipedia is your best
I
friend.
think it's surprising because like
But one thing,
Go ahead.
anime, I watch, but
yeah, but you're not.
I watch because it's good, not because it's for me. Like,
Yes,
I think the first, like Dragon Ball, everybody watched Dragon Ball.
I didn't watch
And I didn't consider it anime at that time. I thought it was a cartoon.
Right.
Because we watched it in English. But when I found out it was Japanese, it didn't do anything to me.
yeah.
I didn't want to. I went back and watched it eventually all in Japanese, but it didn't do anything like,
Yeah.
Kami-sama, Edi-sama. No,
Didn't add anything
yeah.
to yeah.
It was
But
better.
so how did you get introduced to Japanese culture then?
Since a young age, it was fascinating. And when I look,
But did you see like a movie or a game or something that started it all, and then you were like, okay, I actually want to know what real Japanese people are like? Or was it maybe a friend you met in school or something like that?
No, like you said, Japanese people fascinated me, and when I was in a room with some, I wanted to know about them. And it's not just Japanese. I met like Malaysian people, Indonesian people, Chinese, and
So why do you think that for some Middle Easterners, forget the otakus that are in love with the nostalgia of what the things they grew up with, why do you feel like there's not more people that if they don't like the chicken nuggets, they don't like the Western influence, why not focus on the Eastern influences? Why not like see the Japanese? They seem to have the same problems we have with identity crisis and figuring
you
out
have
what.
no idea.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, I've heard
like,
stuff, man.
I had a book because I studied as well Japanese in university. It helped me a lot. I made even more friends when I was.
Can
there.
you speak Japanese?
Watashi wa Iyadu-san.
I am Iyada-san.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
I need practice, but katakana and hiragana I know.
Which one's the tougher one? Which one's the one that's for like fork and spoon and like,
Kanji.
kanji, right? That's the one you find in airports and stuff.
No, kanji is the like one character could be like a sentence or whatever.
Oh, okay. So like that's the.
It's not alphabet; it's characters.
Gotcha.
So you have alphabets a, u, I, u, a, m, like that, but kanji is kanji, like Yama, mountain.
Did you want to get into that because you felt you were like you can't access their mentality, their philosophy without understanding the language?
No, knowledge is power, brother.
Yeah, but was it lost in translation like the movie? No,
No.
Please,
I just
don't hate me, people.
I had an empty semester, and I said, "Why not?"
All right, okay. But you had the friends there as well, the
Exactly.
Japanese
They helped a
speakers.
lot,
They were
man.
there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And about fascination, I don't know. Nintendo, maybe. And
So let's get back on track. Why do you feel like they can't like assimilate their ideals, their values here?
our people, like you mentioned, because our identity is so mixed up.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a lot of my friends don't even have an identity. Like they stick to whatever. Like if they put a little bit more effort, their identity would be so much amazing. If their individual identity, but because they're flipping around, you get lost, you get confused. You're not open to anything else.
What's wrong with flipping around though? Like I feel like it's
Like flipping around a lot.
like you mean not focusing on one thing and
No,
just
like one day you're a biker, the second day.
oh yeah, but you mean like just as a thing, a phase, you know?
Yeah, phase.
You see, that's I don't know. Like I see some people that do flip a lot, maybe, but they do get into the core of that person. You know, or that culture, whatever it is that they're kind of into. Maybe they get into Harley Davidsons, like you said, a biker or something. But there's a lot of people, like you said, they just do the surface, like superficial stuff.
Oh, what
You know what I
are
mean?
the other sheeps doing? Sorry, people, I'm not calling. But this is the best way. Like we're here expressing. So
Don't worry about it. It's good. Like we're not, like I said, no politics,
And,
no
and the other thing,
no
is
local politics.
Not everything is for everybody.
Right.
So if you're not like a lot of people, who was it? I think a while back somebody was trying to convince me to watch something or something. I'm like, dude, I gave it a try. It's not for me. No, but you're missing out. You call yourself a geek and you don't watch. I'm like,
Or about he pulled out the card bad.
and I think like a while back, the same guy about a video game.
Was this an anime that he first told you to watch, or like
I don't remember. I think a TV show though.
all right, okay.
But then a video game. I'm like, but you're a gamer. You have a YouTube. Yeah, but doesn't mean I have to play everything. Like. What do you think is more, the movies you like or the movies you hate?
What do you mean? Like, what do I...
In general, like tally, number, count, head count.
Of how many movies I like compared to how many I hate?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't like to hate movies. I'm like you. Like, even the movies like that I hate, I enjoy just watching and having fun, you know?
Movies you watch versus movies you didn't watch.
Oh, okay. Movies, a lot of movies I didn't watch. Especially now. Like I'd rather like there's movies that I like maybe 10 years ago I'd watch just to understand cultural references, whether I like the movie or not. I just want to know, you know, this movie always comes up, like let's say you have a Groundhog Day episode. Groundhog Day, great movie. Watched it as a kid, never really knew what it was.
Probably watched Family Guy.
Yeah, so I think was it Family Guy? No, I think it was Stargate.
Okay, Stargate.
I was watching Stargate, and then they were saying, oh, another like somebody in forums or something. It's like another Groundhog Day kind of episode, and they do it over and over again, like in shows. So I started figuring out. I want to know what this language is, like that's because there used to be a time like now all our words are kind of like intermingled, like we all share the same language as far as memes and everything else. But before, there's a lot of language that somebody like Kevin Smith would say or references he would talk about. They'd be like is that just something uniquely American? I need to find out what it is.
Yeah.
What is it? You know what I mean?
For me, it was The Simpsons. It opened like that world to me. Like you know everything when The Simpsons talk about it in the episode. American politics, pop culture, music scene,
Right.
the underground scene, the crime scene in America. So The Simpsons taught me a lot.
Yeah. Was that your driving force, you feel? Because it was for me. Like, a lot of people ask me, where did you learn to speak English? Did you grow up in the States? Did you have, like, were you in a compound? No. Did you grow up in the States? No.
Is your mom American?
Yeah, no. It's like, dude, I just really liked the movies. I liked the culture. And you know people that are crazy into, let's say, the WWE. Or you are. You are. I forgot that. Yes, you are. Shit.
Definitely.
Yeah. See?
Wrestling
is crazy in the Middle East.
Is my main dogma in the whole pop culture thing. And I learned the most from wrestling. I learned business. I learned acting, giving speeches or promos, as they call them in wrestling. Yeah. And characterization and character development. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Wrestling is all about character development.
It is.
Yeah.
It's about
psychology.
Overarching story. It's about creating that like anti-hero, hero type of bad mix, and then
heels
the real
and
villain.
faces.
Yeah, you've been watching Glow as well. Have you enjoyed that? Or
no, that's a wrestling term.
I first heard it when I was watching that show. I did not know the term.
I want to get to watch it. They say it's good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I think you'd like it.
And like heels and faces, like us marks are like the fanboys who know everything about wrestling, In the 90s, we knew that. We knew those words, but a lot of people don't. Today, because of social media, he's a face.
Yes, yeah. There was a pride in getting to know subculture stuff that wasn't accessible. Yeah. Like now you can't really be a subculture guy.
That's the biggest problem with the WWE. They can't hide their thing anymore. Like back in the day when The Undertaker is in an airport walking, he was The Undertaker. He wasn't Mark Calloway. Right. Today, what's her name? Alexa Bliss. She's like the top villain woman in the WWE, and she's the champion. And she's a villain. She's a great villain, even though she says, I hate being the villain, but that's my job. I have to do it. Like, she's the villain, and she's so menacing and evil. Yeah. But the next day, she's on Instagram posting picture of her in Disneyland with kids.
This is the downside of being so interconnected that we've lost the niche freaks that would know all this stuff. Like, you would know this, right? I was talking to Ham, the guys from D&D the other time, the first generation of D&D players in Bahrain. And when you hear their stories about what would happen when they lose a die. Like just one dice, just like all any of the whole dice, the one die, anything, their whole lives shatter. Trying to figure out rules, no internet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
All that stuff made you have to be specialized, and when you knew your like you would know your books like Dune, Star Wars. You would have to like specialize, and that I don't feel that anymore. And I feel kind of like. Maybe I'm delegitimized myself. I don't know.
No, like, I don't know. This generation and the coming one, you've got a lot of hurdles.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
like for me, like I don't like it when somebody like I'm not being a snob, but I've been reading comics since 1995.
1995.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So I've got a huge encyclopedia based off the comics I read. Today, somebody would read a Wikipedia page quickly and come argue with me. I'm like, dude, you weren't there when they were developing the character, when they transformed the character, when they... It's different when you're waiting week by week for that.
But comic book debates never end. That's the
Especially
problem.
With
There's
the stupid movies these days.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's so difficult. That's why I can't. I used to be so big into comic books when I was growing up, and it was because my mother would always go out and buy like her own stuff, and she'd come back from Jarir, and like it would be the only thing I'd have accessible that was outside of video games. That was that geeky kind of culture. So I'd get Superman, I'd get Spider-Man, I'd get everything else, but. I hated that, they'd rip the pages out, it'd be marked. I was talking to Ghazi about this the other day, that it would be out of order. You couldn't get the comic books in the correct...
Impossible.
It's like, well, how do I read the story, goddammit?
When I grew up and started traveling, like, I filled any gaps I had before I bought anything else.
Right, yeah.
So if I had, like, issue 188 and 257... First objective and mission is to fill that gap.
Yeah.
And I did that with mostly X-Men because that's my favorite.
That was the one you focused on. Was it specific arcs and specific story?
The X-Men are very problematic because they'd have like 4 main comics running in the same time. So it was Uncanny X-Men, and X-Factor and X-Force.
Excalibur.
Yeah, but Excalibur, I didn't... it was before my time, Excalibur. But Uncanny X-Men, that was my main thing. I had to read it no matter what.
Yeah. And so what's your explanation for... Like, we know why comic books got popular, but what is it about wrestling that made it so popular in the Middle East?
In the Middle East?
Yeah, consider like there was so many third world countries that were like one of the things about Glow, for example. I'm gonna kind of throw off on a tangent here. One of the things about
No
Glow,
spoilers, please.
no spoilers, but one of the things about it is it talks about how the caricatures are. It doesn't make it seem like it's people are offensive or they're butthurt over the fact that people do characters that might be stereotypes, like the Iron Sheikh is
Iron Sheikh used to get threats every day, and he did his gimmick for over 15 or
Oh,
so
wow.
years. He got
Threats-
shot a couple of times.
threats from who? From like rednecks and like people that no way.
Because the Iran crisis was
Yeah,
going on,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
He
They
got
brought that up in the show, by the way.
Yeah,
indirectly.
He got shot a couple of times, man. But he always wear like a bulletproof armor. Him and what's his name, Sergeant Slaughter, during the Iraq
Yeah.
War. He turned. He was with Saddam.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Shit.
even Iron Sheikh. I think who was it? One of them got stabbed 3 times.
I'll make you humble.
But look at Iron Sheikh today, the king of social media.
He is. He's
Yeah.
made a huge comeback. He has a movie, doesn't he, or something like
Yeah,
that?
I funded that movie.
Did you?
Not much, yeah.
That was a Kickstarter thing, or was it?
It was a GoFundMe, probably.
Ah,
I
okay.
think. Or Indiegogo, I think.
All right. So let's get back on track on that. Well, what is it you think that made it popular for people here? Even though your culture is being stereotyped, why would you be okay with that? And people are all around the world were okay with
Our
that.
culture wasn't stereotyped. Iron Sheikh was Iranian.
Yeah, but people didn't know that. You
Yeah,
know that.
People
you
didn't
know that.
But I don't know. You had really good Arab wrestlers, like the original Sheikh. He was from Lebanon.
Right.
He's Sabu's uncle. Sabu had an Arabian gimmick, but Sabu was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah. This is as far away as you can get from that.
But the original Sheikh was the single most greatest wrestling villain in the world. Kids used to cry in the crowd when he just comes in the ring, man.
See, that's what. Then what is the effect? Is it because we like our soap operas here, with those stories, the drama?
Remember back in the day, the stories were minimal.
Yeah, you're right.
Today, they in the 90s, they exploded.
They hammed it up in the 90s
Yeah.
and post that. Yeah.
In the 80s, it was all territorials. Like, I remember, like, a couple of times seeing on TV, Dusty Rhodes, one of the biggest wrestlers in the world that time, wrestling in a school gym, like, against a nobody. And, like, the crowd couldn't be more than 200 people.
I remember the first memory I have of wrestling is the Ultimate Warrior. That was just something about him stood out to me, the way he looked. Then I had like the Game Boy. I can't remember which one. It was WrestleMania or something like that. And it was just, I remember that phase, 80s, like 80 to 90. I don't remember the 80s. I was born 85, but the early 90s and everything.
But they used to rerun a lot of
Yes,
the 80s
and I
stuff.
told this to people the other day on the show that it was, people don't know that we get things late. So,
No, not late. They just rerun them.
but yeah, we got stuff that was rerun or late. I'm sure you guys were the same
Late,
way.
yes.
Like you'd get DVDs like what 3-4 years? No, not DVDs. I
I'm
mean,
speaking VHS.
yeah.
tapes,
Sorry.
man.
I forgot
Beta.
the
I'm speaking
Betamax.
Beta,
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some stuff late, but we got reruns. The late stuff is not the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
They were always late, even cartoons and whatnot.
Always, yeah.
But mainstream stuff like the WWE, they used to show them. Because I would talk to somebody who's like 10, 15 years older than me, and I remember like a Hulk Hogan match from 1984, let's say. He's like,
Yeah.
you saw that on TV? I'm like, yeah, but I saw it in 92, maybe 93.
Yeah.
Okay. He's like, I didn't know they rerun. I'm like, I've seen the whole 80s just in reruns. Like the whole wrestling in the 80s reruns.
Right. Yeah. Well, so do you feel like it was just something to talk about for us, and we were, it's kind of like you could either talk about football, you could either talk about sport, like cars. For some of us it was gaming and other stuff, but for a lot of people, before even gaming exploded, the thing people would talk about was wrestling. Like it was
Because Vince McMahon marketed. That's why I tell you, I learned a lot of business dealing and
From
wheeling
that,
from that. The guy really, really is a true businessman.
right.
And what was it? Like a lot of these other wrestlers, when they come here, they tell you a story. Oh, in 1980 something, a sheikh invited us to Emirat to play at his son's birthday party, and he gave us like a large amount. And he's like, I think it was Bret Hart, yeah. And he asked the sheikh, how did you hear about me? This is before Bret Hart was even famous.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know, like somebody was in America and I asked him to bring like wrestling tapes. and he got Old Stampede
Oh,
tapes,
no
which
way.
is Canada's wrestling territory, which wasn't aired on America or anywhere
So that's
else.
some very niche
Yeah.
stuff. Like, as a
So-
connoisseur of wrestlers,
Yeah,
yeah.
so he liked Brett, and just he asked to find his number. Like, this is before Brett was ever famous.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he'd tell you that story. Even recently, I think Mick Foley and Tommy Dreamer were in UAE in some sheikh's house, and because I think one of our friends met Mick Foley in America, and he's like, "I'm from Bahrain. Do you know Bahrain?" Bahrain. And he's like, "It's Bahrain."
Bahrain.
Yeah, Mick Foley,
No,
Mankind.
no.
He's like, "It's Bahrain," and I've been there before. We stopped by because we had a sheikh from UAE, and he wanted us for a show
Right, yeah.
at his son's birthday. Whatever.
Yeah, see, there's still like a lot of people that are obsessed about it. But do you feel like the majority kind of have peaked for a long time? You mean, like, I don't see as much of the average everyday person talking about it.
No, that's the problem they have today. Is the people who watch
Yeah.
for no reason.
So it's a
They're
global
not-
thing, not
yeah,
just
they're
here.
not getting new people to watch.
Yeah, because I noticed like here, people, man, they're like everybody's converted to the real thing. Everybody wants UFC. They want.
Yeah.
That's been.
That's why social media ruined that experience. Even when I was a
they
kid,
killed the lie, Eyad.
Yeah.
It was a lie.
when you reveal the trick, khalas.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
because when I was a kid, everybody would tell me it's fake. It's fake.
Yeah.
We call that word in wrestling the F word. That's the
Oh,
F
is
word
it?
in wrestling. So
But you guys knew it was fake. That's the
no,
thing.
I
right?
didn't know it was fake.
Oh, you didn't
No,
know?
no.
Like, come on.
Look, the way it was presented was so perfect that okay, I didn't even call it choreographed. I'm just like, it's just a couple of dudes in the
Yeah.
ring having fun.
That didn't sound right, but that didn't,
It's just a bunch of athletes.
very sweaty, oily men.
They are, but
But no. I got you. I
Look.
like it's. There was also like even today, if I watch it today,
yeah,
you know it's not real, right? If you watch it
it
now,
looks not real today.
yeah. But you still like every now and then there's something that catches you into
Yeah.
it. Like you're sucked into it. You're like oh, and then you're like
Oh, they're
it's-
gonna go back to the old days.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what it is.
Look,
I don't know what it is. It's hypnotism. It's NLP,
Me
man.
And
It's
the
something like
people
that.
you're talking about, like the hardcore fans, we lived in a rare age of wrestling.
Yeah.
Because wrestling went from that really old style of wrestling into the 90s. The 90s was a unique style of wrestling.
Right.
And then the 2000s, there, with the internet, with all that, they had to change and adapt. And this is what we have today. So we saw that transition from the real deal
To
what we have today. I'm not going to say it's fake, but
It's fake, bro. it's always been a lie.
it's choreographed violence.
Yes, choreographed, but it's still, in my opinion, an art form. It's
Yeah.
storytelling. Do you know what I mean?
It's one of
Like
the-
I can't say it's fake when I freaking run D&D. Do you know what I mean? Like I see how people like if you do a convincing enough story, if you're there emotionally, the audience is there emotionally with you. You've transported them to somewhere real.
That's the point. Today we stick around just for the story, not for the wrestling. Back
That's where you
then it
think
was
That's
Today
where-
I just follow the story.
There's no other reason to watch. You mean?
Today I could sit and skip the matches, just know the result, not the result, the conclusion.
But is that what people want, or is it just the
That's what-
byproduct of just losing the immersion is broken, and now that people for a fact know it's fake, they're exposed to the
because
UFC.
I'll tell you, like, let's assume we have a time machine and I take a guy from the 1940s or 50s, the heyday of wrestling,
Yeah,
and bring him today and show him. What do you think his reaction would be?
he just kill me right now. Just take me out of it. I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
See,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah, it's because there's kind of like an unspoken bond or an agreement where you have to maintain the illusion because this is something that provided like a little bit of joy to people, a bit of creative.
Exactly. It was an escape, man.
Yeah,
To me, it was
an
definitely an escape.
definitely like any other. But I think with like so many people are educated now about like
No, so many people are snobs. That's what
Do you
it
think
is.
that's it?
Yeah.
I always thought it was because so many people are like, I know so many people that do jujitsu now. There's a lot of people that do everything that's either MMA related or they just watch it, and everybody wants to be an expert about it.
Free country, bro. You can do whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to end it on something that could be a half truth. Thank you for joining us today, Eyad. We went a little bit over time, but Salah it was fun while we did it. It was a lot of topics there, bunch of maybe editing that needs to happen, but not for the parts that we were talking about, just for the parts where maybe we strayed too much into local politics. All right, so thank you guys for tuning in. This was Bedouin Banter. I'm your host Khalid Dosri, and with me in the studio,
Eyad Al Obaidlee, the geek from the Middle East, the cheesy name I chose for myself because people used to call me the Beast from the Middle East. If you can remember from which movie that was, that'll be amazing. In the last 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Iron Sheikh? I don't know.
No, it's from Malibu's Most Wanted, Cal Penn's character. Ahmed, the Beast from the Middle East. And he was a chicken nugget, basically.
Was he?
Yeah, so, you know.
Well, there it is. That's the end of that.
Don't forget to follow me on For Geeks Eyes Only on Instagram.
You heard
and
it.
YouTube.
At For Geeks Eyes Only. You find him on YouTube and Instagram.